Hey guys, it's Jen. Alright, it is Tuesday, January 19th, 2021. I was just watching the speech Mr. Trump just gave. Farewell speech. And I'm almost, now mind you, I am a Capricorn, so almost speechless. I'm at a loss. I just, check please. I'm good anymore. Wow, I don't even know where or how to begin this. Okay, for those of you who don't know me, those of you who have been with me on this YouTube journey do, but those of you who don't, I put in a bid for president back in 2019. I actually got it in legally on time, for the primaries and everything. But at the time, I did it more or less to test a theory to see if my bid would even be considered, number one. Number two, if it would be taken seriously at all, so on and so forth. Obviously, since your girl is not president right now here in 2021, we see the outcome of aforementioned experiment, theory, exploration. So this has been consuming my life recently. Is life, the meaning of life, cells and biology and synergy and division and physics, metaphysics, quantum physics, kinetics, telepathy, soul, spirit, physical, causal, ethereal, astral, different realms, dimensions, incorporating music from musical artists that I vibe with based on being on that same wavelength. Zodiac signs, current events, socio-political things, geopolitical things, atmospheric, electromagnetic, cosmological, ancestral. There's so many things, intuitive, psychic, if you will. Okay, so I guess we're going to start there. I am a Capricorn, sun sign. My moon sign is Pisces, and I am a Cancer rising or ascendant. So Capricorn, rising sign is Cancer, and moon is Pisces. So I've got two water signs, Pisces and Cancer. God love them. I gotta tell you, as much as I have a super special soft spot in my heart for both Cancer and Pisces. My eldest son and my one and only granddaughter, well, I shouldn't say one and only, my one and only biological granddaughter, who is 6 months now. My eldest is a Cancer, and my G baby is also a Cancer. Crabby crabs. And I'm a Capricorn, so it's like you've got the equator, right? And the Tropic of Capricorn and the Tropic of Cancer. Well, the equator would be the middle line, like complete equilibrium. That would be Libra. And my middle sun is a Libra. So for me, Capricorn is a cardinal sign. There are 4 cardinal signs. Like, think of the directions north, south, east, and west on a horizontal plane. So you've got Capricorn, Cancer, Aries, and Libra. And that's your north, south, east, and west. Excuse me. So I've got 2 suns. I've got a a Cancer and a Libra. And my youngest, who is Mr. Imagination and like could probably design a video game that would blow Minecraft and Fortnite out of the water. Benny, my youngest son, he is about to be 16 next month, and he's an Aquarius. So the age of Aquarius. Nobody wants to hear me sing. Trust that. So anyways, okay. So that's a little background on me and the whole presidential election thing. However, I don't prefer the term president because that reminds me of a corporation, and I am anti-corporation. So, like, corporations have presidents, vice presidents, CEOs, CFOs, COOs, secretaries, yada, yada. Not into that. I've worked for corporations before, and I know firsthand personally how shitty they treat their employees. So that's number 1. Number 2, I don't believe in what corporations are about, which is the bottom line, profit and loss. Don't know where I was going with that, but okay. So I prefer the term leader in some capacity, not saying like, oh, yes, sir, ma'am, leader, sir, ma'am, nothing like that. But, like high counselor or chancellor, I always say something like that, or justice of the peace, So for me, just in my own personal journey, I can't believe I'm admitting this on YouTube, like, it's embarrassing, but whatever, it is what it is. Like doing my own report, my chart, my sign, reading into it, living my life, like having the past 44 years of experience, and then research behind the scenes. Like, I know that someone, even if it wasn't me, let's say, but someone had my life and they were born with the sign that I was born under and everything just like me, but it wasn't me. They would be the perfect person to lead this country into solutions and finding solutions and coming together as communities and making something out of nothing and moral ethics. Like, nobody's going to beat me in the arena of moral ethics. No, this is my truth to the universe. So knowing me and knowing who I am and what I am about and what I know, I don't incur any karma more than I already have on my plate, which is a lot. So I do not lie for that reason. Therefore, if I cannot speak something, it's not true. Okay, so there's a little insight into Jen. And that right there tells you I'm being honest, because why would you give away like your weakness if you were in a video game or something and that was your opponent, like This is how you can attack the opponent. But that's just it. And I just proved it. So with that being said, me as a Capricorn, I would be considered, quote unquote, like child of or daughter of Saturn, the karma dealer planet. You don't want to mess with Saturn. I'm just saying, I love you, Big Papa. Nobody, unless you know, you don't know. Okay. And it's only a Capricorn, whether that is your sun sign, your moon sign, or your rising is a Capricorn. You will have no clue of what I'm talking about right now. But if you are a sun, moon, or rising Capricorn, you know damn well what I'm saying. Like right away, like if I even think about doing something shitty, I'm going to get slapped in the face with it so fast in retaliation. It's not even worth it to even go there. Okay, so anybody who's Capricorn in any of those capacities, say I'm wrong with that. Come on. So, all right, through a lot of soul searching, life living and experiencing, and being a witness to certain things in this world that are broken or failing or both, or changing, transforming, plus having an open mind and an evolved enough soul to where I always say I've been around the block a couple times and I've gotten all the t-shirts. So when someone says they have an old soul, it is just because of that reason. You have incarnated in life experiences so many times, X amount of times, and gained so much knowledge into your whole soul. Like each life experience is just one level in the video game, of your life, as a soul. So I always say I've been around the block and gotten a few t-shirts. So, these things lately, the current times, plus knowing who I am essentially and what role I have to play in all this, and this channel, as well as spiritual things that are happening and have been and will continue to, as well as astronomical and cosmological events. It's going to play a big part. And I just wanted to let everyone know that I'm kind of like, it still blows my mind, and it's funny that things happen this way. Like back in 2018, when I was guided to start this YouTube channel, I was like, first of all, YouTube didn't even exist when I was a kid. So it was no aspiring to be a YouTuber or anything. It didn't even exist. But I'm not like the camera friendly, person. I'm like, hey, what's up? Like that person. So but here I am 2 years later, and the things that I was talking about back in 2018 that were going to happen have happened and are continuing to happen. So now I see the beauty in that, as in when I started out back in 2018, I got a lot of hatred. I got a lot of cyberbullying. My family ostracized me. I was like, it was bad. Yet now we're going 2 years into the future, and everything that I said at that time back in 2018 did happen and did come to fruition in some way, shape, or form. So that therefore validates me that, look at the timestamps, look at the copyright, look at when the video was posted, what more do you need, So anyways, this entire time, I didn't know what I was doing. I still don't. So I just kind of wing it and I go with what I'm intuitively guided to do. As crazy as it may seem to somebody else, or someone else may point the finger at me and say, you're living in the past, or no, I've known what I'm doing on this channel since the day I started, which was authentically, genuinely, organically, naturally, raw exposure of my life so that people can see. And if someone else is experiencing something like I have or am, whatever, maybe by my experience, it will lessen their suffering, or it will gain them in knowledge of things that they otherwise wouldn't have been aware exist, you know? So I've taken a lot of backlash, and again, those of you who have been with me through this entire journey, you know very well I haven't had a stable home. I don't have any support system. I have no financial means or wherewithal, but somehow it's been 2 years, and not only am I surviving in my normal day-to-day 3D reality life, but yet I go above and beyond for everybody else out there to keep them in the know of what's going on, hoping and praying and everything that I have now proven to be trustworthy. So, with that being said, we are now that we have entered 2021. We are in January, heading into the last 10 days of the month. We are now heading into the culmination, is what I would call it. 2020 was the exposure, the disclosure, the truth coming out, the shocking headlines, the downfalls of certain people, places, and things, the admittance of things that had been formerly hidden, yada, yada, yada. And that there is actually more to everything than what we've been told and taught in our lifetimes, personally, individually, and collectively. So, I know one thing about myself, that all these experiences to date have been training in some capacity. I mean, I'm talking brutal, make something out of nothing, out in the cold, no way to eat or find a way. And the fact that I am who I am, and as a Capricorn and a survivor and a conqueror in this life, and gifted with intelligence and things like that, also as a mother and someone who chooses progression rather than regression. All right. But I'm also the freak of this world, the misfit, black sheep that still XY factor. I have never found the common denominator to anyone in this world. And in some capacity, I know a lot of people, and have met a lot of people along the way in my life journey here. I know even individuals through their music and listening to lyrics, and especially like bands like Korn, for instance, that I've followed for a quarter of a century. It gives you insight into who they are, but then when you utilize your other senses, like, you can read someone's kind of personality or whatever just in meeting someone physically. I can personally go to Walmart or something and be walking down the aisle and people will walk past me and things will just get thrown at me. And I'm like, oh, like I don't ask for it or anything. It's just energy I pick up on. And that's, some of the things that I do. And when I do readings with people, that's how I read their energy. Things they just fly at me and I speak them, write them, or whatever. And the person will say, oh yeah, well, blah, blah, blah. This is, for instance, last month I did a reading with one of the girls that was at the shelter, and I was sitting there with her, and I just got into channel mode, and I said, okay, some grandmotherly energy is coming through. And I said something to do with daisies, flowers. And she said, that's my mom. And she said something about daisies with her mom and that was very significant. And her mom, though, although this girl that I was doing the reading for was early 50s, her mom was in her mid 80s. So I personally interpreted that as grandmotherly because in that age frame, it made me think, okay, that mid 80s would be like a grandma, but that was her mother. So she did tell me that. And I told her that I was advising her to keep daisies around because that keeps her mom's energy really potent and strong around her. So, okay, so there's another side tangent. Anyways, I have a confession to make, and that is going to be that in these last 2 years, I know deep down in my heart, I have wanted to be talking about these topics and these deep, deep, deep things. But at the same time, I guess, typical me, I also was so terrified of losing the connections that I have made on YouTube with you guys that I kind of sidestepped it in a way because I thought, well, if I talk about this might upset that person, or if I discuss this person's going to probably say this or whatever. And again, as a Capricorn, sorry, not sorry, but we're always right. So, it's just like, however you want to break it down, just saying. But anyways, so it's like always my whole life of that. Oh, I don't want to cause confrontation, or I don't want to cause, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. So those days are done, and that's why I'm admitting it now, so that I can face it, conquer it, overcome it, and hopefully get out of this stagnant place that I have been in my life of just continuance of the same, and move on to bigger and better things that hopefully, because my intention is good and is helpful, that will be a benefit to all parties involved. And I mean that all. So it's where a lot of people have a problem with me.